A familiar name is back in Buffalo. The Bills have brought wide receiver Gabe Davis home just before Week 1 against the Baltimore Ravens. With some uncertainty still hanging over the wide receiver group, the team decided to reunite Josh Allen with one of his most trusted targets from the past. After spending last season with Jacksonville, Davis is returning to the 716. He's still rehabbing from knee surgery that sidelined him for much of the year, but the Bills see enough value to give him a spot on the practice squad for now. That's the first step as he works his way back from a torn meniscus. And if his recovery stays on track, a promotion to the 53-man roster later this season feels very possible. And let's be honest, Josh Allen would love to have him back on the field when the time comes. But before we dive deeper into what this move means for the Bills, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Now, let's get back to it. This signing isn't just about depth, it's about familiarity, trust, and giving Allen another reliable option who already knows the system. The Bills are betting that Davis, once fully healthy, can deliver impact plays again in Orchard Park. The Gabe Davis signing also connects directly to another roster move. With defensive tackle Dwayne Carter headed to injured reserve, the Bills needed to shuffle things around. A spot on the practice squad opened up, and Buffalo used that opportunity to bring Davis back into the fold. The reunion had been teased for weeks. Fans noticed hints on social media. Even Davis himself dropped a few clues, but now it's official. At just 26 years old, standing 6'2", he returns to Buffalo with a proven track record as a big play receiver. Bills fans still remember that unforgettable playoff game against Kansas City in 2022, when Davis exploded for 3 touchdowns in a single night. Of course, the concern now is health. Davis is working his way back from knee surgery, and speed has always been a key part of his game. The Bills know that recovery will be the deciding factor in how quickly he can contribute. But history shows that when he's on the field in Buffalo, production follows. Across his final 2 healthy seasons with the team, he averaged more than 15 yards per reception and scored at least 7 touchdowns each year. For the Bills, this isn't just about filling a practice squad slot. It's about rekindling a connection between Josh Allen and one of his most trusted red zone weapons. Josh Allen has always trusted Gabe Davis, and that connection is a big reason the Bills brought him back. Allen has spoken highly of him in the past, and now that relationship can continue to grow in Buffalo. From a scouting perspective, Davis brings unique strengths. At 6'2" with a strong frame, he's a valuable perimeter target who also contributes as a physical run blocker, something this wide receiver group has been missing at times. His speed down the field makes him a natural sideline threat, though his short area quickness and route running in the middle of the field remain limited. The injury history can't be ignored. Davis battled smaller setbacks during his first stint in Buffalo, and last year's major knee injury in Jacksonville is still a concern. That's why his role starts on the practice squad, with the possibility of promotion later if he proves he's healthy enough to compete at full strength. Even so, his return provides more than just depth. For younger receivers like Terrell Shavers, having Davis in the building offers veteran guidance and playoff experience. And for Allen, it's another familiar face who knows the offense and can step in when called upon. Davis may not be a complete receiver, but in the right role, as a deep ball weapon and red zone option, he can still deliver meaningful contributions to this team. One thing Davis has always brought to Buffalo is his ability to stretch the field. Even when he's not catching passes, his presence forces defenders deep and creates space for others underneath. That's a skill set not every receiver on this roster can provide. Still, there are questions. This isn't the same Gabe Davis from a few years ago. He's coming off a serious knee injury and won't be rushing into the starting lineup. Right now, he isn't even on the 53-man roster. Instead, he's insurance, a familiar option who knows the system and can step in if needed. The Bills' wide receiver room is still sorting itself out. Keon Coleman is expected to play a big role, but as a rookie, he's unproven. Khalil Shakir has shown flashes but carries his own injury history. Joshua Palmer, the offseason pickup, brings potential but needs time to adjust to Buffalo's offense. Veterans like Elijah Moore and Curtis Samuel add depth but don't replicate Davis's ability as a vertical threat. And then there's Tyrell Shavers, who will be fighting to hold onto his roster spot. For now, the Davis move doesn't shake up the depth chart. It's a long-term play, a chance for him to recover, regain confidence, and potentially contribute later this season. Whether that impact is significant remains to be seen, but the reunion gives Buffalo another option in a receiver room still searching for its true identity. Unfortunately, not all of the recent news out of Buffalo is positive. Just days before Week 1, the Bills suffered a tough blow on the defensive line. Rookie defensive tackle Dwayne Carter tore his Achilles during practice and will miss the entire 2025 season. It's a devastating setback for a defensive front that was already thin. Carter was expected to carve out an important role early in the year, especially with some uncertainty surrounding other pieces on the line. His injury leaves Buffalo without a key rotational player and forces the team to reshuffle the roster heading into the opener. That's part of why Gabe Davis's return makes more sense in context. Carter's move to injured reserve opened up roster flexibility, giving the Bills a chance to add Davis back onto the practice squad. But make no mistake, losing Carter is a huge loss. His presence and energy were expected to give the Bills' defense a spark, and now the team will have to rely on other young players to step up in his absence. Carter's setback is even tougher when you consider his journey. Drafted in the mid-rounds of 2024, he showed flashes as a rookie with 5 tackles for loss. But injuries have followed him. Last year, a wrist issue cost him 6 games and landed him on injured reserve. Now, with a torn Achilles, he won't get the chance to build on that progress in 2025. While he wasn't projected to be a dominant difference maker, Carter was expected to play a steady rotational role. His absence leaves a noticeable gap in the interior, where Buffalo already faces some questions. As it stands, Greg Rousseau and Joey Bosa headline the edges, while Daquan Jones and Ed Oliver hold down the middle. Behind them, depth includes Dion Walker and T.J. Sanders, though the team is still waiting for Larry Ogunjobi to make his debut later this season. Carter's injury means the Bills will likely dip into the practice squad for reinforcement. 2 names stand out as potential replacements. Zion Logue, who spent time on practice squads around the league before returning to Buffalo, could get a look. And then there's Jordan Phillips, a veteran with plenty of history in a Bills uniform. At 32, he may not be the long-term answer, but his experience and familiarity with the system make him a logical candidate to step in. The big question now is how the Bills choose to fill the void left by Dwayne Carter. Veteran Jordan Phillips has confidence he can still contribute, but at this stage in his career, expectations must be realistic. His best season in Buffalo, that 9-sack campaign, was 4 years ago. While his experience matters, the team may need to lean more heavily on its younger defensive linemen. That starts with Dion Walker, the massive 6'7", 330-pound tackle. Originally penciled in as depth behind Daquan Jones, Walker now has a chance to play a much bigger role. His size and strength make him a true run stopper in the middle, and if he continues to flash the way he did in preseason, batting down passes, making stops at the line, he could climb the depth chart quickly. Then there's T.J. Sanders, a developmental 3 technique who will back up Ed Oliver. Sanders didn't stand out as much in preseason, but the opportunity is now right in front of him. With Larry Ogunjobi unavailable for the first 6 weeks, Sanders is going to be asked to step into meaningful snaps immediately. The timing isn't ideal. Buffalo's first test comes against one of the league's most physical run games. For the defensive front, this will be a trial by fire and a chance for younger players to prove they can handle the responsibility. The challenge doesn't get any tougher than this. Buffalo's defensive front is about to be tested by one of the league's most dangerous rushing attacks. Just last postseason, Baltimore's ground game carved up the Bills for 134 yards on 22 carries, averaging over 6 yards a pop. With Derrick Henry and Justice Hill forming that 1-2 punch, and Lamar Jackson adding his own threat on the ground, the Bills' young linemen will need to adjust quickly or risk getting overwhelmed again. That's why the growth of players like Dion Walker is so critical. Every opportunity he's had this offseason, he's made the most of it, showing flashes that suggest he could become Buffalo's long-term answer at nose tackle. If Walker and the rest of the unit step up, the defense has a chance to hold its own against a physical Ravens team. It won't be easy, but this is the kind of matchup that can define a season. For the Bills, it's about resilience, development, and proving that the next generation of defensive talent is ready for the spotlight. And with that, the countdown to kickoff continues. The Ravens await on Sunday night, and so does the chance for Buffalo to set the tone for 2025.